This is another impossible production. Fossil Pride.
This is an original instrumental.
Yeah.
Soulful music.
I'm gonna tell you what to do.
This is another impossible production. Fossil Pride.
This is an original instrumental. Soulful music. Enjoy.
This is another impossible production. Fossil Pride.
This is an original instrumental. Soulful music.
Peace, family. QI Critical Thinking is back in the building, family. Y'all know I've been working on my graphics and stuff lately, with clients. So I stay busy a lot. And a lot of times, a lot of the stuff that I bring forth, I have to do research. So sometimes it takes me a while. And I like quality over quantity. So I can't come on as often when I'm very busy because, I don't have time to get all of my information together. Well, with this particular subject, that's right. Women are not supposed to have menstruals. I'm going to break down a lot of stuff towards the end. I don't want to ruin any surprises. I like for y'all to hear other sources because, as I'm always telling you all, don't believe me. Research for yourself. We've been fooled and lied to so much that, like I like to push or practice telling people to research for themselves. I research for myself. Like if I hear somebody say something, I write down generally if they're saying a reference, a resource, I'll write that down. I'll write down the subjects or I'll write down the terminology. A lot of times when we're researching, the most important thing is terminology. because that's a lot of times why we may not be able to find things is because we don't know the proper terminology. But once you know the proper terminology, then and then from that terminology, you're going to find other terminology, other sources. It's going to lead you where you need to go. So that's how you research. But I've been working on this for quite a while. I have a personal testimony that I'm going to tell you later. This is something that I speculated and I know for a fact. As well, I heard it from several different sources before. I actually ran across, the right terminology to do the research for myself. So before I get into it, I want to, shout out to the whole family, but I shout out to the family. I'm gonna do a little, and y'all right after this live stream, I think it said 8:45 or whatever. So that's why I'm gonna sort of run through it, but I'm gonna make sure y'all get y'all points. I'm going to do a roll call and a shout out again. It's a networking party where you come in if you're trying to build your channel, if you're trying to get more subscribers. It's about, like everybody helping everybody, everybody supporting everybody. And also, if you're trying to, branch out to other sectors, this is a great way to do it because a lot of the people that come in are also from other sectors. So, right after this, like I think it's at 8:45 or whatever, I tried to give myself enough space. I'm gonna do a roll call and a shout out. So I'm get ready for that. So I'm gonna try to keep this in a timely fashion. So let me just go ahead and shout out everybody up in the building. She's Trish in the building. Heaven sent one of my great supporters and much love. Heaven sent in the building. DC Kool-Aid and Lisa in the building. We collab a lot. That's when we were doing the panels, that was a panel member. And we might, from here to there, because everybody has their own channels and they're doing their own, thing. So and it got a little heavy for some, some people, and it was a lot of different reasons. But like from time to time, we might, merge a collab when, people have time. Miss TR, yes, one of my great supporters is in the building. I'm gonna check. I got one, but haven't been able to reply back or anything, but I got one. Davana, Davna Loans. I was about to say Davna Jones. Davna, please forgive me. I screw up sometimes, but Loans is in the building. Hello. Beverly is up in the building. Queen Lady T is up in the building. Tina Lennon is up in the building. And like I said, for everybody just coming in, I'm doing a network party at 8:45. If you're trying to get more subscribers, you're trying to get outside of this sector a little bit, or if you're wanting to network, meet some new people, see some new channels, I'm going to do a roll call and shout out like around 8:45. So make sure you have your face up in the place. All right. So the first thing I'm going to do, I like for you to hear that I'm not the only one. There's a reason that I speak about women empowerment. And it's not because I dislike men or anything like anything of that nature. What it is ever since that I found out when they say the black woman is God, it's true. The black woman is God, and they have been suppressing and reversing information on us for so long. They're doing a lot of things for major reasons, but I definitely want to bring this to you to my family today because these days, because of a lot of different things, we suffer from like fibroids and menstrual problems and things. Well, this is going to help you solve a lot of your problems. This will also help you prevent like ovarian cancer and different cancers and things of that nature. But I don't want to ruin the surprise. I'm going to break it down a little later. But we know that the black woman has more, because of the mitochondrial DNA, the black woman is the only one that's capable of producing all other races. Any other race can be produced. Albino is the same thing pretty much as sort of like a Caucasian because they lack that certain form of melanin. I mean, lighter people have melanin, but they lack or they have a deficiency of a certain type of melanin, the carbon melanin. I get confused. I want to say eumelanin, but I might have it backwards. But they lack a certain type of melanin. Okay, and that's why they're lighter skin, and when you think that people have pretty eyes, blue eyes, light hazel eyes, that's because their eyes lack melanin. Okay, lack melanin. And so they can't, they can't be in the sun for a long time. Sun exposure harms them, in a lot of ways. Okay. And as well, so the black woman can have any other race of being on earth. In fact, the black woman was first, and all other races came from the black woman. The black woman is the mother of creation. As well, because of the mighty, like when you're tracing your DNA or whatever, you really need to go off of your race, and everything is dependent upon your mother, because your mother's DNA goes way back. It goes way back because the mom has more, your mitochondrial DNA, or women have more chromosomes and more genes than the male species. So we're like full, we're like complete. Okay. But I want y'all to hear something. I just want to, because I want to add those 2 points, because this is something that Dr. Blair is not going to say. For some of y'all who came from the conscious community, you may know of Dr. Blair. For some of y'all who don't, Dr. Blair, he was a professor of science, and he believed in telling the truth. Okay, and so because college, they want to indoctrinate us. So he ended up getting fired from multiple jobs and stuff like that because he said he just could not tell the truth. So he decided to do his own thing. He decided to branch out and do his own thing and start doing research and studies. And I mean, he brings forth, he's like a Dr. Sabi 2.3.4.5.0 because he has a lot of information. And I've used like a lot of his information to take me further into research. But I'm also going to post. Give me just 1 minute. I'm going to post this video. So, because I'm not going to play the full video, I'm just going to play like little specklets of it because I don't want to get a copyright strike. And also, let me just go ahead and say fair use. Fair use. This video is for educational and research purposes. Fair use. Okay. And so let me drop this link right quick, and I'm going to go ahead and play him. And I want y'all to listen very closely. I'm going to stop from time to time. I'm going to break down what he says. If you have any questions, make sure you ask me. And then I'm going to do a synopsis or, a summary towards the end. And then I also have a little short article that I want to read because I want to give you two sources and, some more terminology. But here we go. Let me know if y'all can hear this.
Consideration retains the characteristics of youth much longer. The female body, on a worldwide consideration, retains the characteristics of youth much longer than does the male body. Can you get in the picture? Less or fewer women have hardening of the arteries than men, the incidence of ulcers in men, and again, most of the deterioration and the signs of age show less in the female body than they do in the male body. Told you I was going to prove a point. There's more heart failure and apoplexy in men than there is in women. Women can usually hold their breath without deterioration of cell structure deprived of oxygen, and much more less suffocated than men. And women can usually endure cold weather on a general basis better than men and can adjust to heat temperatures when their thermostat works correctly more so than men. Are you beginning to see the picture of the proof of what my opening statement was? How many of you are still with me? Confusion and puzzlement. Oh, good. Women in general at higher altitudes, like in the Andes Mountains and so, can usually carry heavier loads than men because the muscle fiber is toned better and the amount of oxygen within the cell structures is greater than that of men. The female brain not only has a finer texture and more complex organization than that of the male, but relative to overall body weight, it is 1/4 pound heavier. There are fewer female baby miscarriages than there are male baby miscarriages. And during childhood, the female is mentally superior to male because the girl of 7, usually because of the rich thyroid hormones, has a brain capacity and a body capacity that dwarfs a boy in both mind and body. They're usually taller, more symmetric, and have better brain cohesion and function than does the boy. So now you understand that I have hopefully proven to you my open.
Okay, so I'm gonna stop it right there, and I'm just gonna do a synopsis because I have to commentate, and that's the only reason. But I really wanted him to go all the way through, so I didn't want to play it all the way through. But basically, in that he was basically giving us scientific genetic facts about how like the women bodies or women's genetics is more superior than that of males in a lot of ways. More chromosomes, even our muscle mass, and we're gonna find out why. Like back in the days, ancient days, we had women warriors, like from Africa and America. Like they suppressed her story. They suppressed a lot of the female history, but I mean, if you really search, you can find that information. If you know the terminology, but he's basically pointing out, the fact that, like in a lot of ways, genetically and biologically, women, we've been taught that, women are not, physically superior, or we're not smarter, we're, not capable of being smarter than a male. Well, that's untrue. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and play the next section. And this is the section, this is the part that I really want you to pay attention to. This is the part that we're coming up on.
Opening statement. Is there anybody now that disagrees with anything that I said? I didn't think you women would. And I know the fellas that just said, what in the world has gone on with that nut up there? Bear with me. Okay? Menstruating women in general lose calcium, thyroxine, iodine, phosphorus, lecithin, vitamin E, vitamin B1, 6, 12, 2, 6, magnesium, manganese, iron, copper, zinc, and sometimes for some women this starts 2 weeks prior to the menses. Think about that.
Bear with me a moment, family.
Stabilizes the nervous system.
Bear with me just a moment, family.
Phosphorus is found in all healthy, normal cells. Iodine causes the growth and maintenance inland where the soil and the food lacks iodine. Iodine is also an essential element for the maturation and maintenance of healthy female cells. What is very interesting is that not all.
All right, I want to stop right there because I want to know, like, did y'all hear how many vitamins, different vitamins that we lose when we menstruate? We lose B12, we lose lecithin, we lose calcium, and we lose iodine. We lose like a lot of different lose a lot of different vitamins and things when we menstruate. Now there is one very important vitamin, and this vitamin that he's about to mention, or he just mentioned, and I'm going to try to roll it back just a little bit, is the essential, and I'm gonna break it down, but I just want you to hear from him.
Lose calcium.
Here we go.
Thyroxine, iodine, phosphorus, lecithin, vitamin E, vitamin B1, 6, 12, 2, 6, magnesium, manganese, iron, copper, zinc, and sometimes for some women this starts 2 weeks prior to the menses. Think about that.
That's 3 weeks.
Calcium, for instance, stabilizes the nervous system. Phosphorus is found in all healthy, normal cells. Iodine causes the growth and maintenance of the thyroid gland, and this is why the thyroid gland in women tends to swell during menstruation. I give you another key so you don't run off and spend all your money at the doctor's.
Okay, did y'all hear that? He said that iodine helps, it helps, to support your thyroid. Okay, now one of the reasons why we one of the reasons why, like, like whenever we're coming on, like he said, a lot of those vitamins you start pre menstrual, so you start losing those vitamins and stuff 2 weeks. Some people start losing them 2 weeks before they actually come on their menstrual. So that's like 3 weeks that you go without those vitamins. And if you're not taking any supplements, or if you're not taking, you're not supplementing the vitamins that you're losing, then you're losing a lot. Okay, now he said iodine. Now, back in the day, they taught us, because my mom, she was a nurse. And so back in the day, they were saying that, Black people have the highest risk of high blood pressure and, different things of that nature. So my mom took us off salt. We did the other type of salt. We did I can't think of the name of it, but it's like Mrs. Dash or whatever. We did, some other type of herbal seasoning or whatever. But she took us off for iodine, okay? Because she was thinking that like it was basically that we eat too much salt and things of that nature. So you know, basically a lot of people cut back on salt during that time. A lot of Black people cut back on salt during that time because of the simple fact that, they told us that, we were at high risk of high blood pressure. So we started cutting back on our salt, using alternative salts and different things of that nature. All right. And I also found out, like if you ever get radiation poison, you want to make sure you keep iodine around, because iodine will save you. Iodine, helps, is a treatment for, iodine, for radiation poison. But he's also saying that the thyroid, the iodine helps support the thyroid. Okay, so I'm just thinking, I stopped eating salt, which is iodine. I stopped eating the iodine salt. And you can also take iodine supplements and different things of that nature, or pills or tablets or whatever. But I stopped eating the salt, and really I needed the salt, because the salt helps, support your thyroids and different things of that nature. And as well, he was also saying that a lot of times we go to the doctor every time you're getting ready to come on your menstrual, and every time you're on your menstrual, your glands are going to swell. And a lot of times we end up running to the doctor because we've been, fighting with ovarian cancer and different things like that. And basically he was like, it's normal, it's natural. And I'm going to tell you later on how I know that to be true as well. But there are certain natural functions that should happen, that should happen. And a lot of times when we go to the doctor, they're actually going against what should happen. But let's go ahead and hear some more of what he have to say, and then I'm going to break a lot of other stuff down.
I repeat that. That's why the thyroid gland in women tends to swell during menstruation. Science has proven that the birth of congenital idiots increases when one travels inland where the soil and the food lacks iodine. Iodine is also an essential element for the maturation and maintenance of healthy female cells. What is very interesting is that not all women on this planet menstruate. Also, not all women on this planet have ever menstruated. But all women think that all women do. Let me also spend a little time with that concept. Most Hindu women do not, and definitely did not, menstruate. One of the last famous Hindu women to achieve prominence on a world stage was Indira Gandhi, who until she started doing certain things and making certain practices as she toured the world, readily admitted she had not suffered a menstrual period until she began to do these things. Had she but followed her religious undertakings, maybe it never would have started. Most ancient African or Kemetic women did not menstruate. Not Belkis, not Apatia, not any of the so-called queens of Africa seemingly did once they began to have knowledge of self. The Oracle of the Delphi, according to the Greeks, were a group of women who pontificated and led Greece through its heyday. It was not led by the warrior men. They did the fighting. The thinking was done by the oracles, and many of the oracles were females. They are said that the oracles did not menstruate. We hear a lot of talk about the Amazon women, the Teutonic women, the female Gauls, the West African Watetas, the East African Bossamans, the Andambes of the Congo. Most of these Oceanic women and most of these Kemetic women did not menstruate. These women were the strong women of our history. And in many cases, they could grow to be 7 and 8 feet tall.
Did y'all hear that?
That's
These
why
women were the
Watusi
strong
and the
women.
Watusi women, when they told you of their diets and things that used to be different, they have some of the most tall, or the tallest women and persons, in fact, on earth itself. The Old Testament said, and the ancient Hebrews said, that menstruation was unclean, and that a woman should be confined until cleansed of her issue. But understand again, a lot of that book was tampered with by a patriarchal society, and if you're not aware of that, I think most of you should be, then we have a lot of interaction that we could go through.
See, I'm not the only one that talks about this.
With the advent of mahogany, and now I'm thinking about Africa. Monogamy, by what we would call the Christian forefathers who wanted their church to really flourish, came the taught, learned sensation that menstruation was correct, menstruation was necessary, and was the woman's paying for her sins for having made Adam eat the apple, and now must also bear her child in pain and affliction. And many of you bought that, didn't you?
Hmm.
I state to you that menstruation is not a cleansing process. It is only the result of the deterioration of the egg, unfertilized, and that men have perpetuated a myth that women collectively have bought. And I can at least begin to forgive some African Kemetic women because they didn't have too much of a choice. In their old habitats, in their old lands, many of them, as I say, were taught better.
All right. So I'm going to pause it right here, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give y'all the little secret here. Give me just a moment. I told you I was going to make this quick. It doesn't take long to break it down. Give me just a moment. All right. So basically, as you heard him say, one of the key components to your thyroid and your thyroid health is iodine. So you need to make sure you put iodine back in your diet. You can even take the iodine tablets. Okay. And how I know, like, okay, let me tell you my personal testimony real quick. And before that, let me tell you this. Okay, so Eve didn't eat the apple. Eve ate the meat. I'm going to repeat that one more time. Eve did not eat the apple. Eve ate the meat. Before, like in ancient history, like even in ancient America. Now he's he does a lot of African studies, so he basically brought up all the African tribes. But even in ancient America, they had like a vegan type of diet, lots of grains, berries, fruits, and vegetables and fruit. Now, one of the things that will help sustain or one of the things that if you want to reduce your menstrual, basically what you have to do is go on a alkaline diet. Because as you heard him say, the your menstrual is not actually cleaning you out. What your menstrual is doing, your menstrual is a result of a deteriorating egg. So basically, that's that deteriorating egg coming out, just like it's the same process, pretty much almost as a miscarriage. So that basically that's that deteriorating egg, cleansing. That's what's cleansing from us. Um, so basically, you want an alkaline diet. An alkaline diet, and what an alkaline diet is, lots of greens, and I mean like fruits and vegetables, like kale, like some people say kale is bad for American blood, but kale has the most vitamins, like spinach, like romaine lettuce, like um lemon. Lemon is high alkaline. And another great way to get your alkaline is you don't have to go buy alkaline water. You can just pretty much. No, I'm talking about, stuff comes out. That's what I'm trying to say. Stuff comes out. That's all I'm saying. But stuff comes out. But pretty much like the lemon. You could go get you some spring water, and you could put that spring water in your. You could put that lemon in your spring water every day, and that alkalines your water. As well as some people, they also use cucumber. They say you can break off cucumber. I've tried the cucumber, but I just, it's just too much work. You got to cut it, and it's too much work. I just rather I get the real lemon juice and I bloom, and we're done. And I put that in, and I drink that, like, every time that I drink water, I pretty much drink, lemon alkaline water. And that alkaline cleanses you out. Plus, you want to make sure that, like, during sunlight hours or whatever, you're getting yourself enough sunshine. But pretty much like what happened was eating meat. Eating meat, like in the beginning of time, we were in a parthenogenesis. The world was asexual. The woman came first. Okay, the oldest bones in both America and in Africa. In Africa is it Lucy, and then it's Lucy, and then in America is Lucia. The oldest bones found in the world that dates way back are women. Okay, and as like as you heard, the Amazon women, they're stronger than the men there. In fact, the roles are reversed in the Amazon, like in the indigenous, parts of the Amazon. So pretty much like we lose a lot because we eat meat. We're not supposed to eat meat. Now, I'm not saying that you have to cut meat all the way, because I'm not 100% vegan myself. I have been, and this is how I know, because like I was vegan for like about 3 or 4 months. I mean like vegan to the point where I cut gluten. Everything that I purchased, was from like Whole Foods, and I know what they say about Whole Foods, but what I'm trying to say is I was like not eating anything that, like no dairy, no byproducts. I was strictly like, my diet consists of turmeric roots. I would get up and I would eat turmeric roots. I would eat cocoa. I would eat nuts. I would eat broccoli. Like I would eat broccoli. I would eat a salad. I would eat a salad with nuts and stuff like that. No meat. All right. Like, and I ended up getting back with my girlfriend, and that was ruined, because it's hard to eat. It's hard to be vegan when you live with somebody. You have to be really disciplined, because they're going to have food around, and your face is going to be tempting. And it's also like hard to be vegan if you're traveling a lot, because a lot of times, like I used to go to McDonald's, and I was so strict that even though like I was getting out and about, I would only order fries. And only order fries. I wouldn't eat any meat at all. And during that time, my skin completely cleared up. And like, and my menstrual reduced, because at first I was having a 5-day menstrual, and I went from a 5-day menstrual down to like a 3-day menstrual, and I'm like, what? And when it first started to happen, like it was like I almost like every time my menstrual would come on, it was like, like I would almost pass out or something. Okay. And you could just tell, like I'm saying, overall everything was, A1. And see, I was getting my protein because I was eating a lot of berries. A lot of times when people go vegan, they don't eat a lot of they don't balance it out. You have to balance it off. They don't eat a lot of, they don't eat anything that gives them protein like berries or whatever. I mean, not like nuts or whatever. Okay, so during that time, my menstrual reduced from 5 days down to 3 days. 3 days, my skin, everything cleared up. Now, as soon as I got back with my ex and got to eating meat occasionally, I still wasn't eating it a whole lot or whatever, but got to eating meat occasionally. My skin started to break out. I got dermatitis A. Um, dermatitis A. And I went back to the 5 day. I went back to sort of my menstrual increased. So I was like, wow. And so I always speculated that it had something to do with me not eating meat. But when you think about it, it really makes sense. See, they were parthenogenesis, asexual, and they didn't have women didn't have to have like men to have a child. Okay, and what happened was, well, I think I'm gonna let him tell you, because sometimes I feel like if I tell you, it's sounding, people, because people put because I'm a lesbian, people put all kinds of stuff in your head or whatever. I want him him to tell you, so I'm gonna let you listen to this second part where he's gonna break down some more stuff. No, no, our periods actually don't. I see you, Miss Presaria. Welcome to the room and shout out. Hi, Carolina Blue. Hi, Omoshun 94602. D Cop in the building. Our periods are not, what we think, or we're taught that our periods cleanses out, but actually, what it is a deteriorating egg. A deteriorating egg, and pretty much it's because of our diets. We have periods because we eat meat. And then also, like, we get thyroids and different things like that because, for one thing, what sustains the thyroids is iodine. We have to make sure that we get enough iodine in the body. Now, I'm about to let you listen to him, and I'm also going to read an article, and he's going to bring up a professor that you can pull up his articles and think that has done studies, and you can pull up his articles and different things like that and actually get the complex details of what he's actually saying. So bear with me, mama. Let me just go ahead and let you listen to the second half. And this is Dr. Blair.
I'm going to now talk to you as adults, if I already haven't, and I hope again you will accept these things with an adult mind, and then on the Q&A, jump me. I'm sorry, talk to me, question me if you will. The whites is a street slang for a term called leukorrhea.
Leukorrhea.
It is an issue, a secretion from the vaginal area, which women sometimes suffer from. If the womb becomes catarrhal, has mucus, has a cold, the whites is one of the results. The inflammation of the uterine lining produces, in many cases, menstruation, and many things can cause that, as we shall talk about. The fluids lost in leukorrhea, or colloquial on the street, the whites, are important vital substances. Lipoids, alkaline lactates, natural sodium, potassium, calcium, plus brain and nerve foods in the form of lecithin. In fact, the mucous corpuscles present in leukorrhea are presently hemoglobin capable. What do I mean by that? It means that they are capable of forming human blood carrying, oxygenating corpuscles. So not only does a woman then suffer the menses, but if she also has leukorrhea, she is constantly losing the ability to build life-giving blood cells, which anyone knows without that, the body does what? deteriorates. Some women are on a constant menses. And then you wonder why some women are very irritable, very agitative, anemic. They get dizzy and have migraine headaches and jump at the sound of a firecracker 20 miles away, which they think they can hear. If anyone suffered that kind of loss from puberty till death, I wonder again why women are not half crazy. There are some men and other women that say they are. I didn't say it. I say, faced with that loss, we could have a problem. I state that if the menses was cessated, if it stopped, if the blood loss and even the alkaline lipase loss was ceased and stopped, then not only would women be very strong, and they wouldn't be intuitive, they would be psychic, but they also could give birth to babies without a man being anywhere around. And there is the key to your problem and your problematic solution. You bought into the coat's lie, the white coat's lie, the medical doctor's lie, which came about under a patriarchal system. If you start understanding the cadavers that were messed with in England and France at the turn of the 17th, 18th century, and experimentation still goes on. In fact, they, by law, are given under the caduceus the right to practice. And the practice is upon, in many cases, you as females.
Did y'all hear that?
There was a theory called the Ovist theory, spelled O-V-I-S-T, pronounced Ah. It was proven, not postulated, I repeat, proven by Professor Jacques Loeb of Stanford University that the embryo develops from the egg alone and does not require spermatozoon.
From the Genesis.
Did you hear what I just stated? According to Professor Loeb, you can make a developing embryo to become mitigated and go into first, second, and third trimesters of birth without the need of the male sperm under certain circumstances. The prevailing medical theory is one of epigenesis, and it says again that you must have the union of sperm and egg in order to produce and in order to get pregnant. Maybe. To start this and give it practicality, we have to go back to a basic concept that some people still are not sure about. I state that women had to have been created before men or formed before man, because you cannot get a man from a man, you cannot get a woman from a man, but you can get a man from a woman, and you can get a woman from a woman, and think about that. Any problem with that statement, that compound complex sentence? I don't have one. This is what the old church, the Church of England, and under King Constantine and the Bishop Eusebius, the Church of Rome, had to get rid of.
All right. So pretty much, like he was breaking down, the process is called, he didn't say the name of it. It is called parthenogenesis. But pretty much, like we have, like, because we're, when we start, he's going to go into it. You can look at it. I don't want to get a copyright strike, so I don't want to play the entire thing. But he breaks a lot more down, and I'm going to drop it into the chat so that you can go ahead and listen to everything that he's saying, as well as take some notes and research it. He's not the first source. He's not the second source that I've heard. I've heard this from multiple sources. Plus, I also, in terms of the menstrual, I've also had my own particular experience with it when I didn't eat meat. And you'll find articles about a lot of, I think Rochelle was saying vegetarians who didn't eat meat. I don't know the terminology. All I know is like I didn't eat meat. Now I probably would say I'm vegan then. Vegan, because I didn't know the difference between well, I knew, but it's complicated, it's confusing. Okay, so here we go. I'm gonna read this article. It's like, we don't need to bleed, why many women are giving up on periods. With recent confirmation that periods have no health benefits, an increasing number of women are using contraceptives to stop them altogether. Some women say we should celebrate our periods, but others feel trapped in a cycle that can be unpredictable, inconvenient, and unpleasant. For some, it is about bringing an end to debilitating pain and dark thoughts. For others, it is as simple as deliberate, deliberate from sinking realization that you need a tampon, but you left them in your other handbag. When a new wave of feminist authors and activists are calling on women to embrace their periods, the idea that some do not want a monthly bleed or seeking to avoid having them altogether can seem radical. The technology is there in contraceptives. They don't only prevent pregnancy. A recent drop in a tampon sales has been linked to women using contraceptive methods that stop or lighten their periods. About a fifth of women using the contraceptive implant no longer bleed, myself included, not myself, but the article. While many who take contraceptive pills without a break often achieve the same result, they are not the only method. The impact can be life-changing. I started taking the mini pill purely for the fact that it would stop my period. And this is not the part that I want to read. I want to read, like, there's also a lot of women who are giving up meat. And I want to get into some of the here we go. Menstruals is process the body sheds. Okay, menstruation is the process by which the body sheds the lining of the uterus and unfertilized egg, triggered by fluctuating levels of hormones, estrogen, and progesterone. Not having period does not create a backlog, nor are they necessary to cleanse the body. Nor are they necessary to cleanse the body. Let me pass this article out to you. This is from the Guardian. So, like, that's the second source that we heard that says that periods are not necessary to clean the body. Here we go. That's the second source. So I gave you Dr. Blair up top, and this is the second source. And this is from the Guardian. Okay, menstruation can, however, exacerbate incapacitating physical or mental health problems, including endometriosis and depressions. Did you hear that? So menstruation can give you some issues. It can give you mental and physical issues like endometriosis and depression. It can also be distressing or problematic for people with gender dysphoria. According to a recent survey, 75,000 women by Public Health England, half those aged 16 to 64 reported menstrual issues in the last year, rising to 75% of those aged 16 to 24. Dr. Jane Thomas, a consultant gynecologist at the Homerton University Hospital in London, says that having so many periods is a modern phenomenon. Historically, women would spend much of their time pregnant or breastfeeding, which can delay the return of the period. It would be a minority of people who have a couple of children only menstruated all the way through their lives. So pretty much, okay. So there we go. Especially like, and I've also heard like lesbians who don't have like sex with men or who not having children and things of that nature are more at risk of ovarian cancer. And that's because, and as you can see why, because like it's the egg. Like basically the period is like, if you don't get pregnant, it's like you releasing that egg. That's the egg coming out. All right. That's the egg coming out. So, like there are a lot of people who use an alternative. They're using some type of pill, as well as there are some people who, like, I have found articles where a lot of people are, going vegetarian, to reduce or get rid of their period as well. So, like, and that's the second source. And we can also do further research, but like, from what I've so far researched, or what I've so far researched, we don't need our periods, and our periods actually do more harm than they do good as well. Let me go ahead and read this part. It is not helpful to have these periods. In fact, if you don't have them, one of the biggest benefit would be reducing iron deficiency anemia. The option not to have a period is rooted in hormone contraceptives, which use synthetic versions of estrogen and prostogen to interfere with the menstrual cycle. This prevents pregnancy. This prevents pregnancy, sometimes with other effects, including lightening, bleeding, or stopping it altogether. Many new forms of contraceptives, including contraceptive implants and injections, uh, intrauterine system, the hormonal coil, and the prostogen only mini pill are designed to be taken continuously, meaning many users can safely go months or years without bleeding. The benefit can be myriad, from saving money to mitigating health problems, including polycystic ovary syndrome, PCOS, in which there is a risk of problematic cells building up in the lining of the wounds. While regular natural periods prevent this buildup and thus can be beneficial for the condition, so too are hormone contraceptives. Okay, so I want to read the article where a lot of people, they're pushing that right there. I don't want to push that. I wanted to read the part. I want to read the part. I'm trying to find a part where they're saying that a lot of women are going vegetarian to reduce their periods. But the article's in the chat. Give me just 1 minute. Give me one minute. And I'm about to see if I can give y'all some more references that I found. Give me just a second. But they say, like, when you go to the doctors, they're gonna tell you that you need the menstrual. I mean that like that you need the menstrual. If you listen to the remaining parts of his audio, he breaks down a lot more, and you could go research it for yourself. But there's an article. It's like like women don't actually need to have a period, and this is Science Alert. And I'm gonna drop that in the chat for you all to read. Here we go. Yeah. So like and you like people get anemia, and did y'all hear how many vitamins we lose? We lose like lecithin, lose like iron, we lose a lot of vitamins when we're bleeding. And if you're not taking like supplements or anything like that, then you're not replacing those vitamins. So pretty soon you can be like certain vitamin deficient, especially if you're not eating fruit, like fruits and vegetables, because a lot of people, let's be real, don't eat healthy. They don't eat enough fruit or vegetables. So in a lot of ways, like our menstruals, like really like harms us in so many different ways, because it takes a lot of vitamins out of us: iron, iodine, and And what I just heard, iodine was one of the most important ones because iodine is the one that supports our thyroids. Now, we're always having thyroid issues. That's one of the biggest things. And, there are even rumors that says that, it's because they're shooting the cows up with steroids and different, shooting the chickens and stuff up with steroids. Because of and they're spraying, a lot of the plants, their unnatural processed plants with pesticides and different things like that. So they're saying that that is a lot of the reasons that we get thyroids, and that could be very true because when you think about it, if you get radiation cancer, the one thing that they recommend, or the cure for it, or the treatment for it is iodine. So we have to make sure, you get the pills or whatever, but we have to make sure that we're getting enough iodine in my life. Now, I'm almost there. I've reduced. They said you can reduce if you just break down the amount of meat that you're eating, you can reduce your period. So like I don't eat a whole lot of meat. I eat meat in small portions, and I only eat white meat. I only eat like turkey, chicken. I know it's not, but turkey, chicken, and fish. Oh, and what I generally do is I eat like salads. I eat more greens than I do like the meat. And really it's like me psyching myself out when I eat the meat. It's like I cut them up in small little portions, and I might eat about this much of meat, like this amount or this serving of meat. And I don't eat bread. I don't eat any. I have a little gluten. I have not gotten rid of the gluten all the way together, but all the way together because I like cream in my coffee. If I could just, and I can't stand I've done the almond milk before, but it's just not the same as that gourmet flavored coffee with that all of those different flavors of cream. But if we cut these things out of our life, even the dairy, because dairy is basically a byproduct of meat of a cow. So if you cut like those things down, or you cut them out of your life, you could even reduce your period, which would mean that you wouldn't be getting rid of so many vitamins on a monthly basis. And then if you have like long extended menstruals, then Lord knows, you really need to be taking some supplements. You really, everybody should be taking some supplements. Go back and listen to that video and see how many and go do some research and see how many, that long list of vitamins and stuff that we that go deficient while we're on our menstrual. Write those down and make sure y'all go buy them vitamins and some, at least take some supplements. But you can reduce, the length of time that you have a menstrual, based on reducing the amount of meat that you eat and eat more alkaline foods like green, natural green vegetables, cabbages, kale, romaine. Some people don't like broccoli. I like broccoli. I eat broccoli, because Dr. Sabe was saying don't eat no broccoli. Broccoli ain't real, but broccoli, I still do broccoli. Um, um, I even take spirella. I take Corella, spirulina, or whatever, however you pronounce it, spirulina, the green stuff. I take green supplements. Um, I take a lot of different supplements. I take vitamin A, D, E. I take all of that stuff. But make sure y'all get y'all some almond milk, yeah, some supplements and stuff at least, because this is one of the reasons as well why we're not like we're dying earlier. We're not, because back in the day, our elders and stuff, they ate a lot of fruit and vegetables. Meat was a luxury to them, and that's why they lived longer. Now we're eating more meat, and not just that. It's like also like colon cancer is a direct result of meat, because like a lot of times it takes meat sometimes like 2 or 3 days to process and to digest out of your system, and sometimes it doesn't even completely do it then. So you have to make sure you're at least doing something to cleanse yourself if you are eating meat. But at least reducing the amount of meat that you eat would be healthier for you as well. But now that I went over that, because I just want to share that with you, y'all read those articles, y'all do some research. But come to find out, we don't actually have to have periods. That it's not really like cleansing our bodies out. It's just getting rid of that egg that we didn't fertilize for that month. That egg that we didn't fertilize for that month. And if you more iodine, but you have to watch that iodine now because that's still salt. But more iodine, or you have to balance it, iodine and garlic, because garlic help reduce your blood pressure. But more iodine, more alkaline foods, drink, more water with lemon and different things like that. It'll help reduce your and less meat will help, reduce the time length of you having a period or menstrual. I'm trying not to say period. But let me just look through the chat real quick. Now I ain't no expert, but I did like I ain't no expert, so I can't say I could be answering all these big medical terms and things of that nature. But I do have like I understand the concept, but I don't know if I understand it enough to be able to explain it to you all. But there are sources out there. I've given you sources, and he also recommends Dr. Jacques Lueb at one of those universities, in which I'm going to do some research on him as well. All right, so I'm gonna stroll up just a little bit. Shout out Wings and Mambo Sauce, y'all. Like I said, around 8:45, I'm gonna do a roll call and a shout out. If you're looking for trying to get some more subscribers, need some more support, come on through. Trying to build your channel, trying to network, trying to get into different sectors, come on through. We're gonna show everybody some love. Miss B Town Hester in the building. Hello, DC Kool-Aid. Rochelle 200 in the building. Hello. Good to see you, sister. I've been wanting you to come on and break down, some of that knowledge you got, Rochelle 200. Email me. My email is on my page. And I'm gonna put it up in a minute. Beautiful Alan. I have been a vegetarian my entire life, and I have a cycle every 28 days. You're a vegetarian with no meat. It's something you might be eating a byproduct. It's something. Do you have a regular one? Do you have a full one? I mean, do the research. It's out there. It's out there. I'm not the only one. Like I've, looked at plenty of sources where, a lot of people are saying that, once they stop eating meat, they reduce their cycle. And like I said, I stopped eating as much meat and my cycle reduced from 5 to 2. So I don't know, and then, sometimes when you say, and I think the only reason I'm 2 right now, because I still do byproducts. I still do the dairy. I still do the cream in my. So I can't really say that I'm 100% vegetarian. I mean, even sometimes when you're taking vitamins and stuff, I have to look, and you have to make sure they're vegan capsules. It's a lot of different precautions or whatever you have to take when you're 100%, vegan. But I just wanted to bring that to y'all. Family, I'm gonna come right back. And we're going to do a network part about 8:45. So if y'all trying to build y'all challenge, y'all roll on through. But I like to say peace, love, and hair grease. Let me get on out of here so I can restart and get ready for the next thing. And y'all do that research on that. And I'm gonna do some more research and bring it back to you as well. But I just want to share, those facts, and y'all listen to that video as well. But I'm gonna play this little music and get us on up out of here. Here we go.
This is another hip-hop production. Foxhole Pride.
This is an original instrumental.
Miss TR in the building. TR Reality After Chemo in the building.
Soulful music.
All right, family, peace. I'm going to go ahead and roll so I can get ready for the network. I got to get energy and geared up. So, peace.